Saint Nicholas of the 3rd century AD, according to the folklorist Nicholas Politis, having to do with an event of 1882. But before I go into this, that I'm translating from a Greek article for you, but I'd like to tell you my experience concerning Saint Nicholas. It was very real. It was in the beginning of my, I would say, my conversion, and it was a strange dream that I had. It was a dream where I felt that I was a little lost child, and I was really depressed. I was very, very distraught because I had recently lost my mother. My mother had passed away. She was in New York living with my father, and I was here in Greece, and she was a half a world away. But anyway, I was distraught. I did go to New York for her funeral, but when I came back, I had to hold her memorial service 40 days later. But a little bit before that, a day or two before, I had a dream with a saint who had a very peaceful looking face, blue eyes. He had a bald spot on the top of his head. Saint Nicholas is usually portrayed with blue eyes, a very peaceful face, and hair and beard like this. And he came to me, and he was, St. Nicholas was a bishop, first of all. Okay, that's why he's wearing the mitre hat on his head. He was a bishop of the church. So he had told one of his deacons to go inside the Holy of Holies of the church. He says, go and bring some of my relics. And the deacon brought him a little box, a little tiny box, almost like twice the size of a pill box. And he touched me on my, I was like a little girl in front of him, a sickly little girl. And he touched me on my forehead. He says, there, that's better. And then I sort of, all of a sudden, became well again. And he was smiling at me. And I said, okay, that's just a dream. But I remember the dream because it was very strange. Well, 2 days later, I took my goliva, my plate of goliva that we make for the commemorative services 40 days after the passing of our beloved one, my mother in this case. And to my astonishment, right in front of me was an icon of this saint whose face I saw in my dream. And it happened to be St. Nicholas. And later on, I read concerning saints and the relics of saints, their holy bones, that many a time when people were sick, they used to pray over the relics of the saint in order to get well. And perhaps he was in that way showing me he was taking care of me. Well, later on, I found out that my mother had an icon of St. Nicholas in her collection of icons, and that she brought this icon to the United States from Greece when we were living in Greece. And she never told me she had it. I found it my sister and I found it in her belongings, so I took it back, I brought it back with me. I mean, that's amazing. But yes, the angels and saints do help us. But this is translated from a Greek article, and it says here, St. Nicholas, according to the Greek folklorist Nicholas Politis, is highly honored and worshipped in all of the Christian world. And I believe his holy relics are in Bari in Italy, on the west coast of Italy. He's worshipped, he's adored, as a saint, and for his wonderful work and his victory in the First Ecumenical Council, where he spoke against the heretics, and against one of them being Arius, and above all for the protection that he provides sailors. St. Nicholas is the protector saint of sailors. Now, in fact, in a song of a sailor from the Greek city of Galaxidi, it says, Saint Demetrius is for the people, the landlubbers, and Saint Nicholas is for the sailors. Now, many Greek ships carry the name of Saint Nicholas. In other words, the ship is called Saint Nicholas, and they have their his image displayed somewhere in the master's cabin in the, where the captain has the steering and everything, on the bridge of the ship. And according to Nikolaos Politis, the folklorist, he lived between 1852 and 1921 in Mykonos. On the seafront of the harbor, there's a little chapel of saints built to quell the tragedies. At Cape Lefkata. Lefkata is near the ruins of an ancient temple of ancient Apollo, and there is a monastery there dedicated to Saint Nicholas. It was built in the 17th century. And in embarrassment, the seafarers invoked the help of in a terrifying sea storm. The terrified sailors invoked the help of our Lord Jesus Christ and our Holy Mother and Saint Nicholas, offering them rewards for their salvation. They usually do that. They make an oath. They make a sort of to have a votive offering giving to them after the help, of course, to say thank you to them. Now, on the ships of pious people, Saint Nicholas is not only a helper in danger, but is believed to be sitting next to the rudder throughout the voyage, since, according to tradition, he is the inventor of the rudder, they say. Now, in the bow sits Christ, in the middle the Virgin, and behind him is Saint Nicholas. Many offerings dedicated to Saint Nicholas are statues of boats, which were saved from these sea storms when he was called on for help. And this custom is very ancient since since before Christian times. The pagans would even offer, the Poseidon, the god of the sea, for example, offerings like that. You can see them in the Archaeological Museum of Athens. They were giving votive offerings, yes. Now, even pirates always made sure to give St. Nicholas the lion's share of their spoils if they got to, their destination safely. As Michael Hurmuzis says, before a ship sails out of port, sailors necessarily call for a priest to sanctify the boat, the ship, and thus essentially invite their patron to take care of their safety and help. Now, the doctrines of the reports, the recording of the miracles of St. Nicholas are mentioned in very old churches. According to some reports, when St. Nicholas was sailing from Egypt to Jerusalem in his lifetime, his ship fell into a wild sea storm, and he succeeded in defeating the demon of trickery and restored the demon of the storm, and calmed the seas with his very righteous, strong prayer to our Lord Jesus Christ. Now, I'm sorry, I'm translating this, making sure I'm not making a mistake. Now, Nikolaos was floating. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. A Cretan sailor, Francis Skoufos, who was an eminent teacher at the Venice School of Venice, in his work Oratory Art, analyzed this miracle with the utmost descriptive power. The fame and glory of St. Nicholas never rose more than when the wild sea and that angry summer humiliated came to the feet of the saint. And when he kissed the wood calmly, and then where before he had to, I'm not making too many sense. It's not making too much sense. I think it's just poetry and prose here, having to do with how he calmed the sea. He prayed that in every wave that was opening into a deep precipice, he prayed over. Nicholas was floating with his legs lying down, swollen by the wind. He quickly ran up to the city of Jerusalem to worship the tomb in which life was buried, that is, the tomb of Jesus Christ, because Christ is life. The sky was serene, the breeze was laughing, the waves were not visible, and the sea was humble. And if it were peace laid on the surfaces of the water, salvation and unrest lay in Hades. The demons and the satanic cyclops who lived in that abyss were chased down to the lower caves. And into the abyss, and then the evil one would also invite his colleagues, right, the demonic entities, in order to cause the saint never to get to Jerusalem. He says, I want him to lose his way, to get into another port and lose his way, his direction. I want every river and stream and forceful waters to come onto him. I want the clouds to open and rain so much that the seas would become twice as deep. And I want that he never reaches the tomb in Jerusalem, this person here. So that's how the evil one was speaking. And of course he was emitting all these terrible smelling smoke out of his nostrils and his mouth. And spewing feverish smoke, helpless flames from his mouth. And as soon as Hades' creatures in darkness darkened, the light emanating from the sun and the water that started pouring down from the sky could sink not only the boat but the whole world. The winds were screaming furiously and the sea was rising high, and the waves echoed and dug on the wooden ships bearing the strongest elements of nature. The sailors were caught and being swayed here and there, crying and screaming for help, and the sea was foretelling their end, and their anguish, the anguish and fear of death was painted on their faces. Only St. Nicholas, for whom all this evil had been done, stood motionless with his arms raised towards God in prayer. So only St. Nicholas, for whom all this evil was being created by the evil one, stood motionless, armored by the power of God, and prayed with his hands stretched out to the black celestial dome of the night and the sea storm. He was undaunted and unyielding in the grace of the all-holy God. He managed to condemn both the elements and the sea and the evil one. As the sea was cloudy and the sky was blue again, and the winds cut and muffled their voices until they came to a port and went down, all of them alive. He calmed the sea with his prayers, that is, and everything was peaceful and normal again, and he humbled the sea. From this very old retelling of this miracle, the legend of St. Nicholas as a patron of sailors and travelers at sea is spread like wildfire as a miracle towards all Christians, and even a Serbian song, a hymn, reports that once 300 monks who sailed to the holy Mount Athos of the peninsula of northern Greece were seized by a frantic thunderstorm, a sea storm, and all of them were saved only when they invited the help of Saint Nicholas. This was published in the magazine Estia, a Greek magazine of Greece. It was published December 5th, 1882, the feast of Saint Nicholas. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.